and welcome back to another micro-home speed build. We are in Willow Creek building a tier 1 tiny home for a writer. So the Sims just had a sale, or are still having one, and I had a bit of a splurge. Oops. I bought the Paranormal and Nifty Knitting stuff packs. The Sims do have a lot of sales, but their stuff packs aren't 30% off that often. Usually they're like 10% off, so I figured, why not, I got the Paranormal stuff pack at the beginning of the sale because I knew I wanted that. You might have seen me use it a bunch in the Baker's Micro Home build, but I sat on the Nifty Knitting one for a while, and then I caved. And so you'll see bits here and there in this build. Most of the knitting stuff didn't really fit in here, even though I wanted to shove the whole pack in this tiny, tiny build. Yeah, so the roof lines here are kind of interesting, but you know what? It adds character. I think it works. Well, I really wanted the main section of this build to be a long corridor with a glass roof. I tried to pair it with this asymmetrical roof, and this build isn't really like a retro build, but it does have some little like retro elements like the door and the roofing. It's really more eclectic than anything. Okay, so now that we have that covered, this week has been kind of exciting for my family. While I am in California, my cousin's family who live in Edmonton, and they're visiting my family in Toronto. Like, just before the pandemic, they had their daughter, and then during the pandemic, they had their son, and my cousin's son has this adorable grandpa quality to him. He looks kind of like grumpy and unimpressed in every photo, kind of like Carl Fredricksen from Up. And so I made this little fenced-off nook in the front of the house as an extra spot where your sim can read, and if not limited by the roles of laptops in The Sims, perhaps write. I personally like to write and work in different spots in the house, and I imagine this writer was the same way. Leaning up against the fence with my legs up on the bench looks like such a juicy spot for reading a good book or like writing an essay. I also snuck in some plants and a chess table in there, so we can have like more things to do around the house. There's like limited room in a 32 tile home, so the activities have to go outside or your sim shall die of boredom. Speaking of which, the back of this house turns into this little hideaway, and it's my favorite reading nook. There's actually a train that goes by behind this house, so I imagine it can get a bit loud for quiet reading time, but the train doesn't come that often, so it's fine. It's totally fine. Sometimes when I'm doing these like voiceovers for the speed builds, I feel like a real estate agent who is really bad at their job. I just want everyone to be happy and find the right home for them, Note to self, if the museum field does not work out, do not venture into the world of real estate. The layout of this house is kind of weird. It's a function of me really wanting that long corridor with a glass roof. I made the small room on the right of the entrance to I made it the bathroom because that was the only room I felt that actually required some sort of privacy. I say that as I put the bathtub right next to the floor to ceiling windows, and I know I have zero intention of putting any curtains there. The past 2 micro homes that I've made videos for had simple like 3-tiled bathrooms, but sometimes you do your best writing whilst soaking in a bathtub, and I wasn't about to rob our dear writer of that opportunity. And writing requires bravery, right? So what is more brave than writing in a tub fully naked right by an open window for all to see? Tell me I'm wrong, but this is obviously the formula for the next best novel. I'm writing the script for this voiceover right now. Is it any good? No, obviously I'm not writing in a tub by a naked window. Note to self, take extra care to check off the box that says, no, this video is not for children when you upload to YouTube. Okay, so we're moving on to the main room. The main room is short for kitchen, living room, office, and bedroom, and sometimes dining room. But yeah, even though the kitchen is kind of small, I tried to add open storage to showcase like cute clutter. In the end, I do remove the little bucket of apples or potatoes or whatever is in there. It was rude and didn't let my sim cook dinner on that counter. Clearly there was plenty of space on that counter, but my sim refused to cut the onions by the apples. Oh, and the oven is for aesthetics only. It doesn't work on the same counter block as the stove. I want them to be together so bad though. I ship them. So now we're moving on to the living room. When I was playtesting this, my sim who had been alive for literally 2 seconds lit the fireplace and immediately burned to death. And it made the bed crispy, and I was just so shocked and annoyed that I just exited The Sims. It's so rude, you know. He was alive for 2 seconds. He was basically a bebe. Okay, so now we're moving on to the office. I playtested everything, so even though it's kind of cramped, your Sims can walk through the place just fine and they can use everything. Well, all the important bits, as you'll see at the end of the video. I always film a bit of me playtesting so you can see that everything works and what it looks like when your sim is in the space. I don't know, I really like it when I can see like Sims in the spaces and engaging with the furniture and stuff. I think it's like weirdly satisfying. Okay, I was thinking that music usually helps those creative juices flow, so I put a speaker by the desk. When I edit essays, I always put a song on repeat until it becomes background noise, and it gets me in the zone to edit. Coffee also helps. Oh, I forgot, / didn't have space for a coffee machine in here. Caffeine addiction is also part of the formula to writing great works of art. Well, caffeine doesn't really work on me, like I can fall asleep after a cup of coffee, but drinking it just tells my brain that it's work time. Oh, and look at that, the bedroom is complete too. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this speed build, subscribe and like this video. My origin ID is BuildsWithCoffee. Copy it from the description if you'd like to download this build from the gallery. Thanks and bye!